Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1.4 to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
A lot to jump into today. Baseball, I know it didn't go well last night, but I want to break it all down and what it means. This is a very, very, very important week for Duck baseball. We're going to unpack that. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us. Hey, shout out to Aaron Wasson yesterday. Pooh, he was awesome talking about not just the surplus sale, which is coming up on Saturday. All the details are available on GoDucks.com. It's one of the biggest events of the year. We're aware. But I got to tell you, Pooh has become the administrator and sport liaison for Oregon softball. And I got to say, I think he's loved it. Like, just talking to him about it in the hall, like, he's into it. So yesterday, he leaves the Duck Insider studio, and I was walking in to pick up my stuff and then head to Corvallis. And Pooh and I talked, I'm not kidding, for like 10 minutes about RPI breakdowns and resumes and what it's going to take to host. And, like, that's awesome. You know, like that we're sitting here talking about that for both Diamond Sports. Even after the loss yesterday for Duck Baseball, we're still talking about that for both Diamond Sports. So I want to unpack that a little bit further. Oregon softball, they are competing against Utah this weekend. Utah is a top 25 team. If the Ducks take care of business, they could finish a lot of different spots in the Pac-12 standings, actually. I think that the 2 seed, though, is very much in play for Oregon softball. And if you finish second in the Pac-12, I think you're a regional host in softball this year. I just feel like it's trending in the right direction. Men's golf, some news on postseason announcements. Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. He's going to sit down with us. We're going to break down the spring game, continue to recap the spring game. Jordan didn't even get to all the post-game interviews yesterday. It's Wednesday, our third show of some post-game for Duck football. We'll get to that. Josh Connerly, Triquez Bridges. And then on the academic side, you know, I think that sometimes we probably don't give this as much attention as it deserves. When I can sit here and tell you about the student aspect of a student athlete, I don't know that I do that enough on the show, if I'm being honest with you, because that is a big part of everybody's academic career. You guys have all seen the NCAA commercial, I suppose, that's like 99% of college athletes go pro in something that isn't their sport. I mean, it's true. You know, that's a big deal. And so we're going to spend some time talking about that. Lacrosse Pac-12 tournament starts tonight. 7 o'clock against Colorado. It's on Pac-12 Network. Encourage you to check it out. I will be tuned in tonight. Also, while I'm packing for Los Angeles, the Duck baseball team traveling on Thursday down to Los Angeles for a 6:30 first pitch on Friday. Now, Drew Cowley hit his 11th home run of the season. That got things going. I got to say, I was thinking, all right, Drew Cowley picked up right where he left off. In fact, if you listen to me on the call, I could not tell the difference between left field and right field because I was in the middle of a sentence saying Drew Cowley is going to pick up right where he left off. Then he hit a ball to right field, and I said it was to left field, and then I corrected myself immediately that it was to right field because I caught myself in a sentence structure error. And, the architecture of my sentence completely hosed me last night. So, Drew, I'm sorry that I messed up your home run call. He hit it to right field because he picked up right where he left off. You see how that was confusing? Yeah, not good. Not the broadcaster's best night last night. But I always say that the broadcaster sounds really good when the team wins. Well, likewise, the broadcaster sometimes doesn't have a good night when the team loses. But early in the game, Drew Cowley hitting that 11th home run, he did pick up where he left off. He won Pac-12 Player of the Week for good reason. 11 home runs this year. Whew. Drew Cowley is now one off the team lead. Jacob Walsh has hit 12. So here's how it happened. The Ducks got another run in the second, could have had more, and the Beavs similarly answered with one in the first, maybe could have had more. The Ducks actually, though, I thought this was a key moment in the game, and I thought it at the time. It really proved true as the game moved forward. The Ducks got one run in the second, but left them loaded. Strikeout, ground out to the second baseman to end it. I thought that hurt. I thought that if the Ducks had gotten a base hit there to score a couple, keep the momentum going, maybe this ball game turns out different. Sometimes that's what happens in a game like this, especially in a rivalry game on the road. You need to capitalize on those. And then, unfortunately, the parallel for this is that Oregon State did get the two-out hitting going, and the Beavs, that was the difference. So the Beavers scored 3 in the bottom half of the second inning. All of them came with 2 outs. On a 1-2 count, the Beavers' Tanner Smith, which will continually mess me up, that their catcher's name is Tanner Smith. It's just, he got hit by a pitch. So Jackson Pace hit him in a 1-2 count. That came with 2 outs. Then another hit batter, then an error on a grounder that could have ended the inning, then a 2 RBI knock. Then the hit batters both came in to score, and the bottom of the order is where all of this happened. Oregon State's bottom of the order, none of which was hitting over 250 entering the game. The bottom of the order was the difference, particularly with 2 outs. That hurt. And then 5 runs for Oregon State in the third, following 2 more for Oregon on a great 2-out, 2-strike hit from Bryce Betcher. Again, Ducks retook the lead. Bryce Betcher, nice at bat. After Oregon led it off with 2 doubles back-to-back, Bryce Betcher knocked him in. But then with 2 outs, 5-run score. Jackson Pace went strikeout, walk, pop out, and then 4 straight doubles, followed by a single, scored 5 in the inning. The 7, 8, 9 hitters are the ones that started that run of doubles for Oregon State. I think these are the moments where when you hear Coach Wazikowski, and you're going to hear this on the show tomorrow when Jordan airs his preview of USC, when you hear Coach Wazikowski say that the Ducks are really close, even when you win a game, for example, 16-10 against Arizona State, it didn't quite feel like the Ducks had all cylinders firing. Well, games like this, I think, are why. 8 runs scored in the first 3 innings, all with 2 outs for Oregon State. Finishing innings, something like that. And then the Ducks leave them loaded with 1 out. After loading them with 1 out, the Ducks left them loaded in that second inning. I think those are the moments where the Ducks can go from really good to great. I think that's kind of the next step for Oregon. It's those details that add up over the course of a game. So the bottom of the order really hurt the Ducks. Ducks got 1 in the 4th, and then they didn't score after that. Had scored in every frame, and then from the 5th through 9th did not score again. I will say I thought Turner Spool-Jarrett calmed things down out of the bullpen. He gave up 2 solo shots, both of which were to the same guy. Those were the only runs that he allowed over his innings of work. But an 11-6 final hurts. The Beavers win the regular season series 3-1. One more home run, though, by the way, to break the team record for home runs in a year. So the Ducks have played 1 game in the month of May. They've hit 75 home runs this year. The next home run that Oregon hits will be the most in a single season in Oregon history. That's what the Duck offense is doing right now. So some positives. I think the Ducks are really close. Now they need to take that next step. So what did that do to Oregon's resume? Well, the Ducks dropped a couple spots in the RPI. They're currently sitting at number 20 in the RPI, no longer the highest-rated RPI team in the conference. That is Stanford. But as you can see in the conference standings, if you're watching Duck Insider today, Stanford is 15-6, Arizona State is 14-6, Oregon is 13-8. That's your top 3. If the Pac-12 tournament started today, the Ducks would be the 3 seed in the Pac-12 tournament, which would mean they play Wednesday and Thursday in that bracket format that the Pac-12 has. Oregon State is 14-10. The Beavs have their Pac-12 bye week the last week of the regular season. I think that's important because Oregon State, their record's going to be in the clubhouse when Oregon travels to Utah. Could end up mattering toward the end of the season with 3 regular season conference series left for the Ducks. Washington, still on Oregon's schedule, is 11-9. UCLA 10-9-1, and then USC 11-10. USC plays today, so I actually have not completely done my scouting report on USC because the Trojans do play today at Cal State Fullerton. But they're 11-10 in conference. USC, it wasn't that long ago that they were first or second in the conference. They've lost 4 straight. Washington just swept them. So maybe Oregon's getting them at the right time. We'll find out this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Los Angeles. Arizona's 9-15, Washington State 7-13, Utah still on Oregon's schedule 7-16-1, and then Cal is 6-15. There's your Pac-12 standings. Oregon is still 2 games back of Stanford, but the Ducks own the tiebreaker with the Cardinal. Still a game and a half back of Arizona State. The Ducks own the tiebreaker with the Sun Devils. If the Ducks get a little help, and if Oregon wins the series at USC, wins the series against Washington, wins the series at Utah, maybe gets a sweep in there, you can do the math. I think if you get to 20 wins, you feel pretty darn good. On that note, Rob Moseley's here, editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. We're going to chat with him about the spring game, some Diamond sports, what else is on Rob's mind. That'll be the first question. What is on Rob's mind today? We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. And what is on the mind of one Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com? First question, what's on your mind today, Rob?
Well, we were just talking about the half marathon
experience
experience from this past week. And Scott was saying that his boy who did it didn't want it to end, which is just a fascinating thought to have when you're running half of a marathon.
Did you want it to end?
I was ready for it to end,
okay.
Yeah. The longest.
But you did well, Rob.
I did like exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
I think I told you last week.
Yeah.
Between 2 and 2:10, and I did 2:06. So, but not wanting. I was ready for it to be over. My longest training run was like 9 miles. When it should have been 11 or 12 probably.
Oh.
So like the last 2 miles, I was having to work a little bit.
But what a cool event every year.
Totally.
Finishing at Hayward, so awesome.
But to the point, it got me thinking about that. There's a moment, the way the course is set up here in Eugene, and their half marathon and marathon run concurrently. Basically, a split takes place around like the 8 mile mark, and you start heading back if you're doing the half marathon. You head out into Springfield if you're doing the full marathon. And 8 miles is like you're essentially 2/3 of the way through the half and 1/3 of the way through the full. And, like, it always occurs to me when I get to that point, you know, would I rather be 2/3 of the way done right now or 1/3 of the way done? And I always would rather be 2/3 of the way done. And so it's fascinating to hear that maybe Scott's boy maybe got to that point and was like, dang, I wish I was only 1/3 done right now.
Could he – wait, I actually don't know the answer to this. Could he have just, like, decided in that moment to keep going?
Yeah. It's
there's
the same
no
price.
reason? Time would – yeah. All right.
And if he didn't train for it, like –
would have been tough.
He probably could have got to – now he's young and healthy and, you know, full of vigor, as we all used to be.
You still are.
Yeah. I suspect he probably would have gotten to about 20 and then really regretted that decision.
Right. Sure.
Even if you're fit, the last 10K of a marathon sucks.
From experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't trained for it, it would not be fun.
Well, what a great weekend, though.
Yeah, totally.
That was after the spring game.
Yep.
Now I do need to ask you, what'd you think? Spring game. General thoughts, open floor.
Woo! Okay, the spring game.
That feels like a long time ago now.
It feels like a really long time ago. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was the fact that it was competitive, kind of back and forth, just the way the roster was split and the way the game played out.
I liked that.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was just it's like Dan Lanning had like magic powers to control the weather.
Yeah.
You know, it's always nice in Eugene.
That's right.
But not necessarily that nice.
That's right.
That time of
the report
year.
card was an A+ from Mother Nature.
Yeah.
You know?
It was and you know, considering everything that was going on that weekend with recruits in town and alumni back, yeah, it was like he bribed the weather controller or something. Yeah. But money well spent because it was
that's
awesome. Yeah.
absolutely money well spent. You know, I think that it's interesting. So Casey Rogers, I can't remember if you were standing with me or not when he said this, but Casey Rogers told me that when he was at Nebraska, like their spring game was like 1s against 3s, and so like the 1s would just pummel them, you know. And so I actually I didn't think about it a ton heading into the game, but because the Ducks have the depth on the roster to split it the way they did, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fun for fans to see that.
Yeah, I think, and just one of the best parts about the whole day was Shout.
Yeah.
And, you know, as usual, you know, some fans clearly stayed for that and then decided to make their exit afterward. But to be reminded that sort of game day atmosphere tradition has been established here, and then to see that people treasure it so much, you know, that's the best thing about sports is the way it can bring people together, you know,
no doubt.
Particularly this day and age. Just, I mean, there's so many things we can argue about and bicker about, and you know, that can be divisive. And the best at the root of it, the best thing about sports is it gives us all, you know, a large pocket of people something to kind of rally around together. Mm-hmm. And you know, so being down on the field, you know, I went down I think mid third quarter. You know,
that's a little early for you.
Yeah. I kind of felt like at that point I'd seen what
you needed to see.
Yeah. So I was just going to go take it in, you know, say hi to some alums, things like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I kind of just ended up kind of by happenstance in that end zone, that corner for Shout by the students. And just to see, you know, how much passion that they have for that tradition and participating in it was just awesome because that's, you know, that's what helps create lifelong fans too.
That's right. You know,
traditions like that.
That's a great point. Like, to me, the spring game is always like the appetizer for the fall. You know, like it reminds everybody that this is coming, and you know, and maybe it's fitting that it was great weather, and now this week it's a little bit more dreary, and it's almost like it is a full tease, right?
Right, because that, you know, typically here for most of the football season, it's pretty nice,
no doubt,
for home games. So. Yeah, that just played into the whole thing. So yeah, it was fun in a lot of different ways.
Saw some guys I think that flash, and you know I like that. It's one thing for you and me to sit here and say like, oh well, this guy performed well, and that's going to rocket him up the depth chart. Well, maybe, but also it's still one practice.
Yeah.
But then the lights came on, and you know I like that Coach Lanning said that it is a different game.
Yeah.
Saw a little bit of that, kind of fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and we, you know, there's some guys I think we've been watching all spring. You know, I think Tez Johnson's a guy that we've seen how dynamic he is.
Heck of a run.
There's a lot of ways to get him the ball, and then just get him into space and let him operate. And I think we saw that all spring. Fans got to see that. You know, Jaden Lamar's one guy who I thought the spring game kind of belied the spring he had.
Sure.
You know, I mean, he caught a couple balls, had could have caught a couple more, had a couple runs, but like, there didn't pop the way he had, I thought, most of the spring. So that's somebody who, like, if you're a fan who only went to the spring game, you might not have a true impression, I think, of the development that he showed these past few weeks.
Yeah.
So there's guys that flashed in that moment. There's guys that didn't, and you see how will that all fit into their development as it progresses.
Yeah, I thought that some of the new faces, that's what everyone's sort of looking for.
Yeah.
Right. In a spring game, like, well, what does that guy bring to the table? But then you also saw tried and true. Bo Nix still a really good quarterback. Things like that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he can just put it on dudes. So actually, a couple instances early, including his first play where he didn't. But that's the kind of timing timing in the passing game is, it's just the hardest thing, I think, to capture in the spring.
Yeah.
Because you just need such a volume of repetitions, and particularly in a new offense that's similar in a lot of ways, but also just a little bit different. There might be different timing on some routes and things like that. I mean, that's the sort of thing that really gets built up over the summer and then in preseason camp. And but yeah, I mean, he obviously is a really dynamic player.
It's always a difficult evaluation in the spring game, right? Because it's like, yeah, go green team, but then also like, the Ducks are the yellow team too. And,
totally.
And like,
but every practice is like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
What I was going to say though is like, taking care of the football, that's usually a good thing.
Right.
Defense, yeah, you want to force turnovers, but I think in general in the spring game, you're happy you're not turning it over.
Yeah.
Not a lot of penalties.
Right.
I think.
No, I thought it was pretty clean.
Yeah, I think stuff like that, I say success. We did talk, Rob, heading into it, like, what's that offensive line going to look like? How's that rotation? And nothing glaring stuck out to, I think, anybody bad there. Like, I thought for the most part.
You talk about the back and forth, like, offensive line. I mean, that's a group probably as much as any unit that, because of the split teams, it would be hard to evaluate just on that spring game.
Yeah.
And so keeping that in mind, I think we did see, some pretty good pass rush at times, and that's obviously something I think this team wants to do better.
Yeah.
Just get home, get to the quarterback more, come fall. So, again, to your point, there's some signs of some development in places you wanted to see it, but then again,
right.
Who knows what it means and what it's going to look like. Obviously, what it's going to look like going against a different team is when that truly matters and when you get a true evaluation.
A lot of attention, too, on the play, of Bryce Betcher in the spring game, and then the fact that he played in the baseball game in right field. That's just a cool thing.
Yeah, actually, we were just talking about in the office that maybe, if we'd had kind of the bodies to do it, it would have been great to, like, mic him up and follow him around all day.
We talked about that, actually. Yeah. We went through the same exercise. We just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, because, I mean, that really, really impressive. And, there were multiple days throughout the spring where he'd have in some ways, the fact that the games were back-to-back might have been a little bit more convenient for him, maybe a little easier for him, condense the time. I mean, but there were days when he was on the football practice field at 9 a.m. and then at PK Park at 10 p.m.,
right.
Because there was a midweek game, that he was playing in. So, again, to be young and full of vigor is nice. It's helpful, but it also, he just brings so much sort of intensity, determination to what he takes on. And, he wants to be a role model. He's aware that because he's a local kid, eyes are on him. So just really impressive.
Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. It was also draft weekend.
Yeah.
Spring game often for Oregon lines up with the draft. Always cool to see some of those names get called.
No doubt about it. And so it's particularly some of those later rounds when you start to wonder, there's a guy we knew might be kind of a bubble guy. I get the idea that sometimes it's better not to be drafted because then you get to kind of choose the right fit. But I also think you'd rather hear your name called.
No doubt.
So
that's what you dream about.
I understand the logic of that counter argument, but so to see some of the particularly some of those guys the last day, it was awesome. And Alex Forsythe, stuff like that. It was great. I was shocked to see Christian Gonzalez. It's weird to say, he fell to 17, whatever he was. That was really surprising. And I think he'll show in the next few years that maybe, some teams should have taken him a little bit earlier.
He's pretty good.
But, he's a really good player and young and just so much development still ahead of him for as good as he is. So, really cool.
Football. We'll get back to it.
Yes.
Huge weekend at home for softball.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot of fun seeing top 25 series at the Jane, Bark in the Park on Saturday, Senior Day on Sunday. And there's a lot on the line here. Ducks could finish pretty darn high in the Pac-12 standings if they take care of business and maybe get a little bit of help. There's a lot in front of them here.
Yeah, no doubt. We're talking about potentially hosting in the postseason, all that. Hopefully the stands packed. Hopefully, I haven't looked at the weather report, partly because I'm going to be out of town this weekend. Hopefully it's a nice weekend out at the Jane and the stands are packed and they'll feel the love, because I know they feel like that's a huge X factor for them. So I'll be monitoring from afar.
Coach Lombardi said that yesterday. Like I like to close with the coaches, like anything that we didn't cover.
Yeah.
You know, and she was like, the fans make a difference.
Yeah.
Like it's worth runs.
Yeah.
At the Jane. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. Like we know that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting sometimes for me to like hear a coach say that. You know.
I was talking to Tanner Smith the other day. We recorded a podcast and
Mighty Oregon podcast coming soon. Tanner Smith.
And we were just talking about like team culture, you know, how it's been built under Coach Wazakowski and sort of examples of it. And we've heard multiple times from that team how important the dugout is. You know, they've been a great like late inning come from behind team. And, you know, we've heard multiple times guys say, yeah, our dugout was key to that. And, so I was just talking with him about that. You know, it's something like, is a casual fan, you'd be like, why is that a thing? And Tanner's pretty good at kind of enunciating concepts that can be foreign to an amateur like myself. But he was just talking to, you know, when you step to the plate and you hear and you feel your dugout behind you, you feel like you have the confidence of 40 guys with you in the box, and that it does make hitting, I don't think he said it makes hitting easier, but essentially that's what he was saying. It makes it easier, and so I would guess that would ring true to a member of the softball team, talking about when you step to the plate as a hitter at the Jane and you feel 2,000 people cheering for you. It's the same thing. You just bring that level of confidence it's intangible. It's hard to quantify, but there's nothing like confidence in any kind of athletic realm to just make you better at whatever you're trying to do. So that, all that rings true.
Well, in case in point, talk about like being a good come from behind team. Nearly half of Oregon's 30 wins this year come from behind.
Yeah, that's wild.
On the baseball diamond. Now it's weird in baseball because it's like you talk about a come from behind win, and it could be that like you were down 2-1 in the third, and then came back and won 10-2, but it's still a comeback.
Still, stuff can snowball, and momentum can swing. But
unfortunately, that's kind of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, it takes some doing, and if you're coming from behind, that means you are behind, and that it does reflect, I think, some of the inconsistencies on the mound with just some of the youth that just guys learning kind of thrown into the fire and having to learn through some highs and lows. But that lineup, you feel like you got a chance kind of against anyone, facing any kind of a potential deficit. You still got a chance.
Logan Mercado even said that today. Just met with the media before the show today. The baseball team did, and Logan was like, we feel like our job as a pitching staff is just keep us in the game.
Yeah.
Because the offense is going to score runs.
Yeah.
That says something.
Yeah, I mean, last week, to use him as an example, he gave up like 3 or 4 in his start.
Yeah.
But came off the mound feeling pretty good about it. It's like, there's a couple pitches maybe you'd like to have back. You were going against a really good offense from Arizona State, so it's not, shutting them out would have been a real tall order. But if you can just put together a quality start, even if that means surrendering, a couple runs, you're okay with this offense.
Right.
Yeah. And then, pass the baton hopefully to some guys in the back of the bullpen that can get it done.
Like I asked coaches, what we miss? What else you working on?
Dude, I got senioritis. I've had it for like a week.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm flying to Italy Friday night. I'll be on a cruise ship all next week. So I started the process of disconnecting probably late last week.
I like that.
Knowing that I was going to be kind of out of the loop.
So I'm going to go ahead. This is live radio for you right here. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the one event for next week that is on both of our calendars. Send cancellation.
Yeah. I'll be somewhere in the Adriatic.
That's great.
Yeah.
How long you booked this trip for?
How long has it been booked?
Yeah.
Quite a while. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily know kind of who was going to be home, who was going to be away. I don't think we had like spring schedules even.
Okay.
Yeah, we took a short cruise about this time last year, and almost immediately booked this one.
I've never been on a cruise.
Last time was my first. It
Okay.
was pretty great.
So I got time.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be particularly young.
Would I?
For a cruise ship, except for like the kids that are with their.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a.
Does that depend on the type of cruise you book?
That's probably a fair point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely asking that question.
But yeah, no, I think it's generally kind of an older crowd. A lot of, retirees.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll never be able to retire, but I'd love to do that someday.
Yeah. No, we went on a 3-night one last year. Yeah, I might have mentioned this before. We were going to go on like a 2-week one that got canceled by COVID.
Oh.
And when we booked that, we were like, I hope we're cruise people because 2 weeks is a long time to be on a boat.
Yeah, what if you get seasick?
Right, and then it got canceled. So we did this little 3-day one. And it was like, okay, that's what we should have done all along. Is going a little shorty just to make sure.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be like twice as long. So, we'll see if the stamina is there. No, but to the seasick question, I've been like violently seasick before, like on small craft.
Yeah.
And so I was, when the boat left the harbor last year, I was watching a hockey game because the Penguins actually made the playoffs last year, unlike this year.
Priorities.
Stupid Penguins. But yeah, I started to feel a little queasy, and that's how I knew the boat had like departed. And I was like, oh no.
3 days of this.
Is it going to be 3 days of this? And it was probably 20 minutes, and then I was fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Holland America Line's a new partner for the Ducks this year. Maybe I'll go to like Alaska. That's a good quick one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com.
Yeah.
Hey, you have a great trip.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
This is going to be phenomenal. We'll miss you next week, though.
Yeah.
Do you still have your cardboard cutout from back in the day? Maybe we'll just put your cardboard cutout in your seat on Wednesday.
Yeah, you can just do a monologue.
Well, yeah, just like
it would be just as insightful as this segment usually is for me.
I mean, we portray a good left field on this segment.
Yeah.
Like both just great left fielders. Not Tanner Smith level, but pretty good left fielders. Yeah.
You can talk all those coaches and student athletes. You can get the serious stuff out of the way with them.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here for hijinks and tomfoolery.
That is accurate.
Yes.
And I hope that's true next week, too.
Yeah.
Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. When we come back, men's golf postseason. Tell you about that announcement coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. So Faye says, We've gone on cruises with young adults 20s, and they had a blast. Faye, thank you. It can be done. I think it depends on the cruise you book. I think that's a big deal. Okay, I'm going to catch up on some comments. The Ducks hurt the Ducks. Why do we keep putting a pitcher back in that obviously was struggling? Ronald, I don't know which pitcher you're talking about. If you're talking last night about Jackson Pace, the Ducks, because of the weekend series upcoming, I think the bullpen was a little bit short yesterday. So trying to get some innings out of them. There's no doubt about that. At least that was the view from my chair. Tobias asking, I know Oregon has had many multi-sport student athletes over the years, but is Betcher the first to play baseball and football for the Ducks? No, he's not the first. To my knowledge, though, he is the first in the modern era of Oregon baseball that's played in the spring game and then gone over and played also in the baseball game. The Ducks have had a couple, like, I remember Brett Buffaro was a two-way guy. Robbie Ashford was a two-way guy, played both quarterback and outfield for the Ducks. There's been a few. And actually, in the Pac-12, it's not all that uncommon. John Vaughn's at UCLA, linebacker, outfielder, leadoff hitter. USC actually has a guy coming up who this weekend, not to give away too much, but I think might be a key to this weekend because he's very dangerous on the base paths. You keep him off the base paths, usually you're successful against the Trojans, actually. Ronald said, I would love to see the photographer catch the helmet exchange when we get a home run and the player gets back to the dugout. We always see them rounding the bases, but not a look for the player that goes into the dugout with a football helmet on. So I can give you a little bit of inside the broadcast for that. And in fact, two of our camera operators on Oregon Baseball live streams are sitting in the studio today. Soph is directing, Gabe is running audio. Both of you have run the first base camera, right? The first base camera on our broadcast for the Quack Video live stream, it actually gets cut off when you're trying to zoom into the dugout on that shot when the Ducks are getting into the dugout and changing it out. And we don't have a third base camera, which would be the shot into Oregon's dugout. Now, for the photographers, I can ask Deborah, I can ask Big E, Eric Evans. I'll ask them, see if we can get that shot of the football helmet. Yeah, it's a long-running tradition now for the Ducks, really, where they put the helmet on, and yeah, it's pretty great. So, Ron, I like that. I'll do my best. Tobias, what did you two, well, I'm going to speak for Rob now, think of Ty's performance? I won't speak for Rob. I can give you a little bit of mine. I thought Ty Thompson started a little bit slow, and then I thought really got it going as the game moved on. And I'll tell you, like at the end of the first half, he almost had a touchdown on a couple of those throws, actually, when they were in the red zone, the yellow team. And if the score matters in the game, maybe it only matters to everybody in the locker room that we're kind of competing, then that was the difference in the game. And I thought that Ty Thompson, particularly for example, on Tez Johnson's big run, we're all going to sit here and remember that Tez Johnson got great downfield blocking from Patrick Herbert. For example, he made a video game juke inside the 5 to stop on a dime and then let a guy run by him and go into the end zone. But also Ty Thompson executed that perfectly from the quarterback position. He got it to him in the right spot, allowed that play to develop. You know, I thought Ty did well. That's kind of what we've seen in the spring, at least for me. So traveling with Duck Baseball, I haven't been at every Oregon spring football practice. I think Rob was at all but one. I think Jerry Allen was at every one of them. And I'm pretty sure Jorgie was at least half of them. And I'll just say this, I don't think that anything Ty did surprised us. You know, I thought that was sort of what we had seen throughout the spring from Ty Thompson. Hopefully that helps. Sorry I'm late to some of the comments and questions. My bad, I didn't have Facebook open today. And that's on Soph because she didn't tell me that you were asking any questions. So, yeah. So Scott is here too. I mean, Scott, you come on now. All right. Men's golf, the number 22 Oregon men's golf team is headed to Michigan as the number 4 seed in, I'm not kidding, this is not a mispronunciation, in the Bath Regional. Yeah, actually, the Bath Regional. The Ducks will play from May 15th to 17th at Eagle Eye Golf Club in Bath, Michigan. Ducks will be joined by number 3 Illinois, the regional's top seed, number 10 Florida, number 15 Texas, Kansas State, Georgia, Liberty, San Diego, Arkansas, Little Rock, host Michigan as well, or Michigan State, I should say. Oh boy, that was bad. Host Michigan State, Wisconsin, Illinois State, and Purdue University, Fort Wayne. Casey Martin said, quote, it will be a challenge playing a course we haven't seen before, but we have a lot of veteran guys who know what it takes to get through the regional and will lean on their experience. That's really true. The Ducks do have a ton of experience on this roster. A couple guys that have won Pac-12 Golfer of the Month, week, and guys that have been there before. Bath Regional is one of 6 nationally and will be conducted the weekend of May 16th. The top 5 teams at each regional will advance to the NCAA championships that run May 26th to 31st at Greyhawk Golf Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. This will be Oregon's 16th consecutive regional appearance and its 29th NCAA regional overall. Last year, the Ducks finished 4th at the Stockton Regional to advance to the 2022 NCAA championships. Oregon returns 4 golfers from that squad. Here's the experience. Owen Averett ranked 34th nationally, Nate Stember, Grayson Leach, and Greg Solhag. I feel like every year Casey Martin's squad overperforms. Like the expectation is, yeah, they'll be pretty good, you know? And then they go and make it to the championships and they make a run at the thing. I'm really excited, actually, to watch where this team goes over the course of this year. So congratulations to the men's golf team heading to the regionals here coming up in a couple weeks. When we come back to football, reviewing some more Oregon football spring game takeaways. Josh Connerly, Triquez Bridges, talking with the media after the spring game. I think that concludes our spring game interviews post-game. We'll do that when we come back. It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can go out and make memories that make summer, summer. Like catching a road game in a RAV4. I got it.
Toyota, let's go places. Participating dealers only. Event ends May 31st. Dealer inventory may vary.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight. This weekend, Duck softball against Utah, but also tonight, the Pac-12 lacrosse tournament begins. Oregon versus Colorado, 7 o'clock televised on the Pac-12 network. Looking forward to seeing a postseason run. It always feels like kind of a new season when you get to the postseason, especially the tournaments for lacrosse. And this is a lacrosse team that has lost, 5 games by 2 goals or less. I mean, it's been crazy seeing the amount of close games that Chelsea Hoffman's squad has played in. I feel like they're that close to going on a little bit of a run here. More on lacrosse coming up in a moment. Josh Connerly, after the Oregon football spring game, there were so many post-game interviews that we didn't get to all of them on Monday. We didn't even get to the rest of them on Tuesday. So that's why we're here on a Wednesday talking about spring football still. Josh Connerly, offensive lineman, meeting with the media after the spring showcase, I'll call it, at Autzen Stadium.
Josh, what's the worst thing about being your size outside of football?
Like you're a big dude. Is it hard to get into like school desks, like door frames, airplanes?
Yeah, sometimes sitting on the plane's hard, but that's what exit row's for. You know,
I was gonna say
exit row do it for you every time.
Are you like an aisle seat guy? You get that leg out
absolutely.
there? Okay.
Every time, you know. It's been when I say one of the hardest things is like people always assume that you're an athlete, you know, but there's always so much more to you than that. You know, I feel like there's a lot of people, like a lot of great people that's in our locker room, you know, that you would just assume because they're big that they're athletes, you know, but they're a lot more than that. There's a lot of great people.
Probably just don't want to talk football all the time.
Yeah,
right?
you know. Always.
Talking football, how do you think you did? Anything you did today at the spring game?
It was all right, man. I mean, there's a lot of things that I still have to work on myself, but I mean, as we come together through the spring, going into the summer, man, I think we're gonna be rolling, you know.
Josh, what's your pregame routine like? Are you like superstitious at all? Do you have like a set routine?
I would say I do. I mean, I try to stretch a lot. You know, I don't really try to like overdo it though, but try to stretch. Of course, eat breakfast and stuff. You know, go through all that, and then make sure my hydration's straight all the time. You know, so.
Do you learn anything from watching the draft, or just seeing like the types of bodies and players who are?
Yeah, I mean, stuff that I learned from the draft is that you can literally be taken wherever, you know, and I mean, you just have to, no matter where you fall, you just have to make the most of it, you know, and really just be ready to work at all times.
I don't know if you saw, Alex Forsythe went to Denver near the end of the seventh. How awesome is that for somebody you spent a lot of time with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say seeing dudes like Alex and Salah get drafted. I mean, it means the world to me, you know. And I mean, just seeing dudes like that have been around for such a long time here, for them to make it out, you know, and get to that next level. I mean, it just gives me more motivation to get where I want to be. You feel me? So.
How much responsibility do you feel heading into this year? You're going to be a starting tackle, and just how much, I guess, are you trying to shoulder with this offense as you head into your second year? I mean, I really just try to play my part, you know, keep that guy over there upright, you know, and just do as best as I can, try to lead us to a national championship. Hopefully, that's our goal. So.
How do you think the new offensive line is molding together after key players have left recently?
I mean, I feel like we're a lot more closer in our room, honestly, and it's a lot more cohesive because of Coach Terry, because he makes us shake up every day after practice. We pray before every meeting, to start every meeting, and I mean it's really five is one. You know, that's the thing we say. 5 is 1, and that's what we try to do. We try to just stay together and do what we do.
What guys from the defensive line really impressed you today?
I mean, young Mateo, man, he's gonna be a dude, man. Whether people believe it or not, he's gonna be a dude. And I mean, Brandon Dorris is gonna always do what he does. You know, and I mean, Taki, that's a big dude. that's a big mug to try and move. You know, so yeah.
I think you mentioned Mateo last time too. What about him impresses you?
I mean, his ability to bend. He can give you power. He can give you speed moves. You know, he got it all. He got it all in his bag. You know, so I think he's gonna be a great player.
Are you guys kind of petitioning to get him at tight end? We saw him get in there.
Oh man, hey, he can do whatever. I'm gonna say you put him out. You put him on the outside. You put him on the inside. Defense, offense, you know what he's do.
The offense kind of struggled to get going this game.
Yeah.
Whether that be drops or whatever the reason may be, but there's been a talk about the defense and how they kind of stepped over the course of the spring camp. Was this a reflection of what the defense looked like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think there's a lot of big improvements, especially on the back end of our defense. And I mean, they're good. I mean, the coach that we brought in to coach our back end, I feel like have really took those guys to the next level. You know, and a lot of the box play has been pretty good as well. That's why, I mean, that's what makes O-line as good as we're gonna be. You know, is them. You know, so.
You were here last year. You obviously got to go against the defensive line that was here last season.
Yeah.
What to you is the biggest difference between last season's defensive line and what we saw today with Mateo and with Birch?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with dudes like Mateo, I mean, he has the fresher legs. You know, it's a lot different going against Mateo than DJ Johnson and stuff. You know, but I mean, even going against a dude like Jordan Birch. I mean, even though he was on my team today. Every day at practice he gives me a run. You know, that's probably best competition I've had. Him, Brandon Dorris, DJ Johnson. Those are I can say probably best 3 dudes I've ever had to block in my life. So, yeah.
You said the other day that Dorlis probably won't credit you for beating him that often in practice. You feel like you got him a few times today?
Man, here and there, man. You know, and the best thing about Dorlis is, man, he's always doing it to try and make me better, so I can make him better. You know, iron sharpens iron. You know, that's just how it is, and that's what it is around here at all times.
What do you take when you lose a rep from Dorlis? Like, obviously he's a great player. And
I mean, a lot of the times I already know like what I messed up on to what gave him the advantage. So I mean, I really just try to critique that, and work on it as much as I can after practice. You know, so.
What do the next couple of months look like for you? What are 1 or 2 things that you really are thinking you want to hone in on between now and the start of fall camp?
I mean, really improving, just having a nasty streak. You know, I feel like a lot of people will tend to say I don't really have that grit or grime. You know, that's really what I'm trying to, finishing people off. You know, finishing all my blocks is something I really want to work on. You know, and just staying consistent and making everybody around me better. You know, that's just what I want to do.
Do you feel like you have that nasty streak?
No. I feel like I don't. Even I'm gonna say so. Like when people tell me that, you know, that's something I have to improve on. So.
Josh Connerly, part of that new offensive line group that figures to be, I think, a focus for Oregon throughout fall camp. What's the rotation going to look like? You're replacing 4 starters. There's going to be a lot of interest there. Josh Connerly figures to be a big part of it. When we come back, some updates around Oregon athletics. Might be able to hear from Triquez Bridges. We'll see how I timed things today on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, OnPoint proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. OnPoint Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union, Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. So I know that sometimes on Duck Insider, I've heard this before, that like we don't talk enough about what happens beyond the field. And so here's an example of that I think is really cool. 7 University of Oregon Athletic Department programs scored a 1,000 in the NCAA academic progress rate for the 21 to 22 academic year. The 7 programs producing that single 1,000-year score: men's basketball, women's cross country, women's golf, men's tennis, and soccer. So what is the APR, you may ask? The academic progress rate measures eligibility and retention each academic term and provides a picture of the ongoing academic performance of each team in every sport. Teams must earn a 4-year average APR of 930 to compete in championships. So it's not just, hey, this is cool, like doing well in the classroom. No, like the teams have to maintain a good score for eligibility reasons to compete in championships. It's a big part of what happens. The men's tennis program, led by Nils Schielander, posted a 1,000 single-year APR for the 7th consecutive year, while the Oregon women's golf program recorded a 1,000 single-year APR for the 5th year in a row. The women's tennis team, a 3rd consecutive single-year APR of 1,000. So these things are really important, and it's what happens a lot in the Jaquith Center. A lot of the academic support staff in the Jaquith Center, this is what they're talking about. This is what is so important to them. That men's basketball program, by the way, up from $974 a year ago, and a multi-year rate that improved from $957 to $979. And I know you're hearing me say these numbers, and you're like, Joey, I don't totally know what that means. I'm going to tell you a secret. Neither do I. But what I do know is that closer to 1,000 is better. Closer to 930 is not good, because then teams can't compete in NCAA championship events. So this is a good thing. The Duck APR overall is going up. Rob Mullins said, quote, "We are extremely proud of the continued academic success of the University of Oregon student-athletes. They work tirelessly every day to reach their full potential in competition and in the classroom, and their academic excellence is our department's top priority. We are tremendously appreciative of the academic staff at the Jaquith Center. We look forward to seeing Oregon student-athletes continue to thrive in all their endeavors." Pretty cool. More details on Goducks.com. I'd be lying to you if I said that I could sit here and figure out how to exactly calculate the APR. That's what smarter people in the Jaquith Center do. But it's important. And it's a big part of the success beyond the athletic competition. So for like Nils Schielander's squad, hey, that's really something, that the Ducks have had 7 straight years of a perfect academic progress rate. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Women's lacrosse honors Morgan McCarthy and Gabby Cleveland were announced as second-team All-Pac-12 selections by the conference on Tuesday. McCarthy becomes the 3rd Oregon player to be named a 2-time and back-to-back All-Pac-12 choice since the league's formation in 2018. Cleveland becomes the 17th sophomore to earn all-conference honors and the 3rd in the Pac-12 era. Congratulations to the Ducks. You'll see them on display tonight. Pac-12 tournament begins 7 p.m. on Pac-12 Network against Colorado. Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Menus available cafeyum.com. Jordan Brenner's with you tomorrow. I'll be in L.A.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message